My stepdaughter blocked the hallway and said, "You're not blood. Don't speak on my wedding." So I collected every receipt I'd covered, withdrew my share, and let her biodad handle the disaster she created. "You're not my real dad. Stop acting like you have a say in this." That's what my stepdaughter said to me in the middle of a crowded bridal shop, loud enough for the sales associate, 3 bridesmaids, and a woman trying on mother of the bride dresses to hear. So I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and showed her exactly how much of her dream wedding was currently sitting on my credit cards. Then I started making calls. That was just the beginning of teaching her that family isn't about whose DNA you share. It's about who shows up when the bill comes due. My name is Marcus. I'm 47 years old, and for the last 12 years, I've been the guy who fixed everything in everyone else's life, while somehow remaining optional in the family narrative. By day, I'm a senior project manager for a commercial construction company. I build things: office towers, medical centers, mixed-use developments. I read blueprints, manage budgets, anticipate problems before they become disasters. By night, apparently, I was my wife's financial safety net and her daughter's invisible support system. Until the day she decided to remind me, publicly, that I wasn't real family while standing in a bridal boutique surrounded by dresses I was paying for. Let me back up. I met my wife, Lauren, when her daughter Emma was 11. Emma was all braces and attitude even then, already fluent in eye rolls and heavy sighs. Her dad, Jason, was technically still around, but around meant he lived 3 states away, video called on birthdays, and sent child support payments that arrived like clockwork twice a year, whether Lauren needed them monthly or not. Lauren had full custody. She worked as a medical office manager, pulled long hours, and was devoted to giving Emma everything she never had growing up. Which meant she said yes to things we couldn't afford, and expected me to figure out how to make the math work. I was the one who taught Emma to drive when Jason promised to fly in for it and then didn't. I was the one who sat through parent-teacher conferences, college campus tours, and that nightmare of a senior prom where the limo company double-booked and I had to scramble. I stayed up until 2 a.m. helping her finish a history project on the New Deal because she'd procrastinated for 3 weeks. Her biodad sent a congratulations text with a gift card when she got into college. I co-signed her student loans. She never called me Dad. I didn't ask her to. I was Marcus, Mom's husband, the guy who actually picks up the phone. When she got engaged at 24 to a guy named Brent, a graphic designer with big ideas, bigger student loan debt, and zero concept of financial planning, I was genuinely happy for her. Not father of the bride happy, project manager happy. I looked at 2 kids with champagne dreams and beer budgets, and knew that if this wedding was going to happen without destroying them financially, someone with a functioning spreadsheet needed to step in. At first, it wasn't about revenge. It was about damage control. "We want something intimate," Emma said, scrolling through wedding Instagram accounts at our dining table. Nothing crazy, just family and close friends. I glanced at her screen and saw a venue that looked like it cost more than my first car, a reception setup that required a team of decorators, and a cake that appeared to defy both physics and reasonable pricing. "Intimate," I repeated, sipping my coffee. "Right." Lauren kissed Emma's head as she walked past. "Whatever you want, sweetheart. We'll figure it out." "We'll figure it out," in our house was code for Marcus will figure it out while everyone else dreams. To their credit, Emma and Brent tried to budget for about 90 minutes. When they realized their Pinterest board cost more than a decent used car, Emma's eyes drifted toward me the way they always did when reality crashed into her fantasy. "I mean, you guys will help, right?" she asked Lauren, but she was looking at me. "Dad can't really contribute much. He's still paying off his boat." She said it like it was an unfortunate natural disaster instead of a choice her father made. Lauren glanced at me with that look that meant, "Please don't make this awkward." "We can contribute what makes sense," I said carefully. "But you two need to be realistic. I'm not financing a destination wedding." She laughed. "Nobody said destination. We just want one nice day. Is that so crazy?" Here's where I made my first mistake. I pulled out my laptop and opened a budget template I'd built for work projects. I started doing what I do professionally, breaking down costs, identifying dependencies, flagging risks, venue rental, catering per head, photographer packages, videographer, florals, DJ or band, dress and alterations, suits for the groomsmen, hair and makeup for the bridal party, invitations, favors, cake, bar package, rentals for tables, chairs, linens, transportation, hotel blocks, tips for vendors, marriage license, rings, rehearsal dinner. And then the things nobody thinks about until the invoice arrives. Overtime charges for venues, vendor meals, cake cutting fees, corking fees if you bring your own wine, liability insurance, setup and breakdown fees. We added it all up. Even with aggressive cost cutting, they were short by about $15,000. They stared at the number like it might apologize and shrink. "We can't afford this," Brent said quietly, running his hand through his hair. He wasn't wrong. "I can cover some of it," I said slowly, feeling Lauren's hopeful gaze. "But I'm not going into debt for this. We have our own retirement to think about. And Emma, you and Brent already have student loans. Adding wedding debt on top of that is a terrible financial decision." They both nodded, looking relieved and overwhelmed at the same time. I ended up covering the venue deposit, the photographer's retainer, and half the catering down payment. I put the rental company's order on my business credit card to get the bulk discount. I opened a separate savings account labeled Emma's Wedding and started automatic transfers from my paycheck because Lauren's idea of contributing was buying Emma's shoes and then feeling like she'd done her part. I told myself this was what family did, that I was investing in Emma's happiness, in Lauren's peace of mind, in the idea that we were a blended family that worked. The disrespect started slowly, like a crack in a foundation you don't notice until the whole structure shifts. At first, Emma included me in everything. She asked my opinion on color schemes, sent me photos of centerpiece options, ran the guest list by me to make sure she wasn't forgetting anyone from my side of the family. She texted me things like, "Thank you so much for helping with this. I don't know what we'd do without you." Then her BIODAD caught wind of the wedding and suddenly remembered he had a daughter. Jason started calling more, texting more. He sent Emma a check for $500 with a note that said, "For whatever you need, princess. Your old man's got you. $500. I'd already put down $8,000. But you'd think he'd donated a kidney based on how Emma talked about it." "Dad's being so sweet about the wedding," she said at dinner one night, showing us a text where he'd sent her a GIF of a crying, happy face. "He says he wishes he could do more." "That's nice," I said, cutting into my chicken. "He's just in a tough spot financially," Emma continued, like I'd asked for an explanation. "The boat payments are brutal and his girlfriend just moved in, so expenses are up." I looked at Lauren. She gave me a warning look that said, "Don't." The next crack came during dress shopping. Lauren had invited Emma's aunt, 2 bridesmaids, and me. I wasn't planning to go. Dress shopping felt like something Emma should do with the women in her life, but Lauren insisted. "You're paying for half of this," she whispered to me the night before. "You should get to see her in the dresses." I should have known better. We got to the boutique, and it was exactly the kind of place where they serve you champagne and treat you like royalty until the bill comes. Emma tried on dress after dress, each one more elaborate than the last. She looked beautiful in all of them. But when the consultant brought out the one that made her cry, the one with the lace sleeves and the cathedral train and the hand-beaded bodice, I saw the price tag over the consultant's shoulder. $4,800 before alterations. Emma was spinning in front of the mirror, eyes wet, smiling bigger than I'd seen in months. Lauren was crying. The bridesmaids were crying. Everyone was crying except me and the sales associate, who had clearly seen this movie before. "This is the one," Emma breathed. "This is it." "It's perfect, honey," Lauren said, squeezing my hand hard enough to cut off circulation. The consultant smiled. "Wonderful. Let's talk about timeline and payment. We'll need a 50% deposit today to hold the dress, and the balance is due 6 weeks before the wedding along with alteration fees." Emma looked at Lauren. Lauren looked at me. "We can do that," I said, because what else was I going to say in a room full of people waiting for someone to make her dream come true? I handed over my card. $2,400, just like that. The consultant ran it, handed me the receipt, and Emma hugged me so hard I thought she might crack a rib. "Thank you, Marcus," she said. "Thank you so much. I love you." In that moment, I believed her. 2 weeks later, Jason called Emma and told her he wanted to contribute to the dress. She called me, excited, saying he was going to Venmo her $1,000 to help with the gown. That's great, I said. You can put it toward the balance. There was a pause. Well, actually, I was thinking I could use it for the veil and accessories, since you already covered the dress deposit. I felt something tighten in my chest. Emma, the balance on the dress is still $2,400 plus alterations. Your dad's $1,000 should go toward that. But you said you were handling the dress, she said, her voice getting defensive. I said I'd cover the deposit, I corrected. The rest of the dress cost is on you and Brent, or if your dad wants to contribute, great. She went quiet. Then, fine. Whatever. She never put his $1,000 toward the dress. She used it for her bachelorette party weekend. The breaking point came 6 weeks before the wedding. We were at the bridal boutique for Emma's final fitting. Lauren couldn't make it. She had to cover a shift at work, so it was me, Emma, her maid of honor, and one bridesmaid. The dress fit perfectly. Emma looked stunning. The consultant brought out the veil, the shoes, the jewelry she'd picked out. Okay, the consultant said brightly. So today we'll collect the remaining balance on the gown, which is $2,400 plus alterations at $650 and the accessories package at $400. Your total today is $3,450. Emma's face went white. Wait, I thought Marcus was covering that. The consultant looked at me. I looked at Emma. I covered the deposit, I said carefully. We talked about this. The balance was your responsibility. But I don't have that, she hissed, pulling me aside while the consultant and bridesmaids pretended to look at veils. Marcus, I thought you were handling the dress. You said you'd take care of it. I said I'd cover the deposit so you could secure the dress, I replied, keeping my voice even. The balance and alterations were always going to be on you. That's why I built it into the budget we went over 3 months ago. Her face flushed. I can't just pull $3,500 out of nowhere. What am I supposed to do? You call your dad and ask him to cover it, I said. He offered to help with the dress. This is the help you need. She stared at me like I'd just suggested she rob a bank. He can't afford that. You know he can't. Then you and Brent figure it out, I said. Or you pick a less expensive dress. But I'm not putting another $3,500 on my card for something we agreed was your responsibility. Her eyes narrowed. You're really going to do this? Right now? In front of everyone? You're the one who assumed I was paying for things without asking, I said quietly. I've been crystal clear about what I could contribute. You've been hearing what you wanted to hear. She stepped back like I'd shoved her. Then she said it, loud enough for the consultant, the bridesmaids, and probably the seamstress in the back room to hear. You're not my real dad. Stop acting like you have a say in this. This is my wedding, my dress, my day. If you don't want to help, then just say that. But don't stand here and pretend you get to control everything just because you have money. The room went silent. The maid of honor looked at the floor. The consultant suddenly became very interested in a binder on the counter. I felt something inside me go cold and sharp, not angry, calculating. Understood, I said. I'll stop pretending. I walked out of the boutique, got in my truck, and drove home. Emma called me 4 times. I didn't answer. Lauren called me 6 times. I answered on the 7th. What happened? She asked, voice tight. Emma just called me sobbing. She says you abandoned her at the dress shop. I didn't abandon her, I said. I declined to pay for something that wasn't my responsibility after she made it very clear I'm not her real father and don't get a say in her wedding. So I'm taking her advice. I'm stepping back. Marcus, she's stressed. She didn't mean it like that. She meant every word, I said, and she made sure everyone in that room heard it. There was a long pause. What are you going to do? I'm going to stop pretending, I said. That night, I did what I do best. I built a project plan. But this time, it wasn't to build something. It was to dismantle my involvement in something that clearly didn't value me. I went into my office and pulled every receipt, every contract, every bank statement related to the wedding. I'd kept meticulous records because that's how I operate. Every deposit, every payment, every charge on my business card or personal card, every transfer from the wedding savings account. I built a new spreadsheet. not for them. For me. Column A, vendor name. Column B, contract holder name. Column C, who paid what. Column D, refund policy. Column E, my total contribution. Column F, their total contribution. The numbers were brutal. Venue, contract in my name, deposit from my account, balance not yet paid. Total from me so far, $4,500. Total from them, 0. Catering, joint contract, but retainer on my card. Total from me, $3,000. Total from them, 0. Photographer, contract in my name, retainer, paid by me. Total from me, $2,000. Total from them, 0. Rentals, my business card, my vendor relationship. Total from me, $1,800. Total from them, 0. Dress, deposit from me. Total from me, $2,400. Total from them, 0. DJ, the one thing they'd actually paid for themselves. Total from them, $1,200. Bar package, my card. Florist, my card. Hair and makeup deposits, my card. Total contributed by me, just over $19,000. Total contributed by them, $1,200. I sat back and stared at the screen. $19,000 toward a wedding where I apparently didn't get a say because I wasn't real family. I didn't decide to ruin the wedding. I decided to stop funding it. I started with the vendors where my name was on the contract. I read every cancellation policy, every refund clause, every deadline. I wasn't going to do anything illegal or unethical. I was going to do exactly what the contracts allowed. First call, the venue. I explained that due to unforeseen circumstances, we needed to reduce our rental package. Not cancel, reduce. I downgraded from the premium all-day package to the basic 6-hour window. I reduced the guest count to what had actually been paid for. The deposit stayed as a credit toward the reduced package. Can I ask why the change? The coordinator asked gently. Budget realities, I said. Turns out the couple needs to cover more of this themselves than originally planned. Second call, the caterer. I reviewed our contract and explained that we'd be scaling back to the minimum guest count and the basic menu tier. No premium bar package, no late-night food station, no upgraded appetizers, just what the deposit actually covered. The balance will be adjusted accordingly, I said, and the couple will be responsible for paying that balance directly. Please update your records to reflect that. Third call, rentals. I canceled the upgraded lounge furniture, the decorative archway, the specialty linens, back to basics. The deposit credit covered what remained. Fourth, the florist. I reduced the arrangement package to the ceremony essentials only. No elaborate centerpieces, no floral chandelier installation, no rose petal walkway. Fifth, I called my credit card company and requested that all future charges related to the wedding vendors be declined unless I specifically pre-authorized them. Then I sent emails to every vendor with my card on file explaining that I was no longer authorizing charges and that the couple would need to provide their own payment method going forward. The photographer was the trickiest because we had a relationship. He'd shot a corporate event for my company the year before. I called him directly. Hey man, I said, I need to be straight with you about Emma's wedding. I paid your retainer, but I'm not going to be covering the balance. The couple will need to pay that themselves. If they don't pay by the deadline in your contract, I understand you'll need to withdraw your services. He was quiet for a moment. Is everything okay? Let's just say I'm no longer financing a wedding where I've been informed I'm not really family, I said. Ah, he said. I've seen that before. I'm sorry, man. For what it's worth, your stepdaughter doesn't know how good she had it. She's about to find out, I said. The last thing I did was log into the wedding savings account and transfer out every dollar I'd personally contributed. I left Lauren's contributions and the small amounts Emma and Brent had managed to add. But my $19,000? I moved it to an account labeled Marcus's Retirement Fund. I wasn't stealing. I was taking back what I'd put in before it got spent on a wedding where I was just the ATM. Then I sat back and waited for the fire to start. It didn't take long. The next morning, the venue coordinator emailed Emma to confirm the reduced package. Emma called me before I'd even finished my first coffee. What did you do? She demanded, her voice shaking. The venue just sent me a new contract. Half our time is gone. The guest count is cut. What the hell, Marcus? I adjusted to what's actually been paid for, I said calmly. You made it clear I don't get a say in your wedding, so I'm no longer subsidizing it." "You can't just do that," she shouted. "People are invited. We have a plan." "You have a plan that costs money neither you nor Brent have," I replied. "I was covering that gap. I'm not anymore. Figure it out with your real dad." She made a sound like I'd physically hurt her. "Are you seriously doing this? 2 months before my wedding? You're seriously acting like you didn't tell me to my face that I'm not your real father and don't get a say," I said. "I'm just taking your advice, Emma. You wanted me to stop acting like I had control, so I'm releasing control, along with my funding." "Mom!" she yelled, and I heard Lauren's voice in the background. Lauren got on the phone. "Marcus, please, can we talk about this?" "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "I'm done being the bank for people who don't see me as family. Emma can call Jason and ask him to cover what I was paying for. I'm sure his boat payment can wait a month." I hung up. Over the next 72 hours, the calls came in waves. The caterer reached out to Emma about the reduced menu and unpaid balance. She called me crying. I didn't answer. The florist sent a revised quote. Emma texted me a screenshot with, "Are you kidding me?" in all caps. I didn't respond. The photographer emailed her directly about the outstanding balance due before he'd show up on the wedding day. She sent me a voice memo, actually sobbing, begging me to reconsider. I listened to it once. Then I deleted it. Brent finally called me. To his credit, he was calmer than Emma. "Marcus, I get that you're upset," he said. "And honestly, what Emma said was out of line. But man, we're 2 months out. We can't pull together 15 grand in 2 months. We'll be starting our marriage in massive debt if we try to keep everything you pulled." "Then don't keep everything," I said. "Scale back to what you can afford. That's what budgets are for." "Our families will be so disappointed," he said quietly. "Then maybe one of those families should step up and pay for what they want to see happen," I replied. "My wallet is closed, Brent. I'm sorry you're caught in this, but I'm not the bad guy for stopping payment on something I was never obligated to fund in the first place." He sighed. "Emma's mom is furious." "Emma's mom hasn't contributed a dime to this wedding except criticism and guilt," I said. "Her opinion on my money is irrelevant." Jason, predictably, was useless. When Emma finally broke down and called him about covering some of the vendor balances, he hemmed and hawed about cash flow issues and bad timing, and ultimately Venmo'd her another $500 like it was a generous bailout. Emma's meltdown peaked about 10 days after I pulled my funding. She showed up at our house while Lauren was at work. I was in the garage organizing tools when I heard her car pull up. She came in without knocking, face blotchy, eyes swollen. "I need to talk to you," she said. "Okay," I said, setting down a wrench. "You're ruining my wedding," she said, voice shaking. "You're punishing me because I hurt your feelings. That's what this is. You're being petty and cruel, and you're going to ruin the most important day of my life because I said one thing I didn't mean." I looked at her for a long moment. "Do you actually think you said one thing?" She blinked. "What? You think this is about one comment in a dress shop?" I said. "Emma, this is about 12 years of me showing up and being treated like I'm optional. It's about me paying for your college application fees while your dad bought a boat. It's about me co-signing your student loans while he sent birthday cards. It's about me sitting at every single one of your school events while he video called twice a year. And then, when it came time for your wedding, I funded nearly $20,000 of it. And the moment I didn't hand over another $3 grand on demand, you made sure everyone in that boutique knew I wasn't your real dad." Her face crumpled. "I didn't mean it." "You meant it enough to say it out loud," I replied. "And here's the thing, Emma. You don't get to decide I'm not really family, and then be shocked when I stop acting like it. You drew the line. I'm just respecting it." "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I was stressed and scared, and Mom's been on my case about money, and Dad keeps flaking, and I took it out on you. I know that's not fair." "It's not," I agreed, "and I accept your apology. But an apology doesn't refund my credit card. It doesn't undo the fact that you built a wedding on my back and then told me I didn't matter the second I couldn't give you more." She wiped her eyes. "What do you want me to do?" I want you to go to your father and tell him you need $15,000 to keep your dream wedding intact, I said. I want you to ask him to sell his boat or pull from his savings or do literally anything that shows he's willing to sacrifice for you the way I have. And when he says no, or when he offers you another $500 and calls it love, I want you to remember that I was the one who showed up. Every time. She stared at me, crying quietly. He won't do it. You know he won't. I know, I said. And now you know. And that's the real lesson here. She left without another word. Lauren and I fought about it for days. She accused me of being vindictive, of prioritizing my pride over Emma's happiness, of holding a grudge that would damage our marriage. You're making me choose, she finally said, voice breaking, between you and my daughter. No, I said. I'm making you see that for 12 years, you've expected me to carry the weight while Emma and Jason got all the credit. I'm not asking you to choose. I'm asking you to stop expecting me to subsidize my own irrelevance. She didn't have an answer for that. In the end, Emma and Brent scaled the wedding back dramatically. They kept the venue at the reduced rate. They cut the guest list by 40%. They hired a friend with a nice camera instead of the professional photographer. The florist did ceremony-only arrangements. They ditched the DJ and made a Spotify playlist. The caterer provided a basic buffet. Lauren quietly pulled money from her savings to cover Emma's dress balance and alterations. She didn't ask me to contribute. I didn't offer. The wedding happened. It was fine. Not Instagram perfect, but fine. Emma looked beautiful. Brent looked nervous. Jason showed up late and gave a toast about his little girl that made me want to walk out, but I stayed because Lauren's hand was gripping mine like a vice. There was no special stepfather dance. No thank you speech that mentioned my name. I sat at a table with Lauren's co-workers and made small talk about interest rates and construction timelines. But here's what happened after. 3 months after the wedding, Emma called me. Not Lauren. Me. Hey, Marcus, she said. Can we get coffee? We met at a place near her apartment. She looked older somehow, tired in a way that wasn't about lack of sleep. Brent and I have been fighting about money, she said. A lot. We're trying to pay down the wedding cost we put on credit cards, and it's so much worse than I thought it would be. I tried to tell you that, I said gently. I know, she said. I didn't listen. I thought you were just being controlling. But you were right. About all of it. She stirred her coffee. Dad called last week asking to borrow money. He's behind on his boat payments. I told him no. Good, I said. He got mad, she continued. Said I was being selfish. That family helps family. She laughed bitterly. I asked him where that energy was when I needed help with the wedding. He hung up on me. I didn't say anything. I just waited. I'm sorry, she said finally, looking at me with red-rimmed eyes. Not just for what I said in the dress shop. For years of taking you for granted. For treating you like you were just there to fix things while Dad got to be the fun, carefree guy who showed up when it was easy. You deserved better than that. I believed her. Not because the apology was perfect, but because it came with receipts. She'd seen her father fail her in real time, and it had rewritten the story she'd been telling herself for years. Thank you, I said. I appreciate that. Are we okay? She asked quietly. We're getting there, I said. But Emma, I need you to understand something. I'm not your ATM. I'm not your backup plan. If you want me in your life as family, I need to be treated like family all the time, not just when it's convenient. She nodded. I get it. I really do. 6 months after that conversation, Emma and Brent invited us to dinner at their apartment. They'd made lasagna, which was ambitious considering their kitchen was the size of a closet. Over dessert, Emma slid an envelope across the table to me. What's this? I asked. Open it, she said. Inside was a check for $3,000 and a handwritten note that said, First payment. Thank you for everything. Love, Emma. I looked up at her. You don't have to do this. I want to, she said. It's going to take me a while to pay you back for everything, but I'm going to. Because you were right. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up. And you've always shown up. I won't lie. I cried. right there at their tiny kitchen table, over half-eaten tiramisu. Lauren reached over and squeezed my hand. For the first time in months, it didn't feel like she was trying to hold me back. It felt like she was holding me up. So was it revenge? Maybe. At first, absolutely. I wanted Emma to feel the weight of what she'd said. I wanted her to scramble. I wanted her father to fail her so completely that she'd finally see the difference between the man who made promises and the man who kept them. But the real revenge wasn't the scaled-back wedding or the budget crisis. It was watching her grow up. It was seeing her realize that the person she dismissed was the person who'd been holding her up all along. Here's what I learned. You can't force people to value you. You can only stop undervaluing yourself. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop paying for a relationship that only costs you. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think I went too far by pulling my funding? Or would you have done the same thing if someone told you you weren't real family after you'd spent years supporting them? If you've dealt with entitled stepkids or ungrateful family members who only see you as a wallet, drop your story in the comments. I want to hear how you handled it. And if this story hit home for you, if you felt any of what I felt, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow, and it lets me keep bringing you stories like this.